Good morning, my friends out there. We're coming to Easter, so I'm going to be a little bit of a pontificator. I need to talk to you about salvation. But I'm not going to talk to you the way preachers do. I'm going to talk to you the way Jesus talked to everybody. He used words that nobody ever heard before. He put words together in a way that will bring the listeners to see what's wrong with them, and while they're listening they were repenting, because no one ever told them the truth in such a way that condemnation didn't come with it. So when I accuse you of things or talk about you and you can feel offended, that offense is not meant to offend you, but to save you. All you have to do is quietly agree or disagree. He says he did not come to condemn, but to save. And so he also said in his own language that if you don't hear me and you can't hear me, I'm not condemning you for that. I've come to condemn, not to convict. So if you don't understand me, you're not punished. You just have to wait a while until you grasp the point. You may not be ready, because the forces that have made you sick are very subtle and very powerful. They may just be words that put you down and torment you and torture you as a child, but the truth is that everybody comes into the world and is tortured by their parents. And we'll go into that. But the parents do not know they're doing it. Even when they're doing it in the most heinous fashion, they are not aware there's anything wrong with it. ISIS does not see anything wrong with killing small children. And the reason why is because they're afraid of innocent children. They're deathly afraid. They're dead, or they're one of them, the living dead. You see. And so I've said that in my radio program, and if they want to come at me, they can come at me. And if the president wants to come at me for saying the truth about him, that he's a communist and a Marxist, and he's bringing us down, then he can come at me. I don't see many people doing that. I see them thinking that, but all of America is suffering from the inability to speak up. It's called political correctness. I'm not politically correct. How dare you be politically correct? How dare you not speak up when you know something's wrong? The whole purpose of life is courage. And courage given to you not by necessarily having a bravado, but it has to be a bravado with a purpose. Otherwise it becomes violence for the sake of violence, and righteous, which is not quite right. And try to correct the situation with your own will only creates wills of others to want to take a toll on you. So I don't know where I'm going to go with this discussion, but it needs to be a discussion if possible. Yes, that would be nice.
Okay. Well,
you listen to what she's saying, will you? Listen carefully to what she is saying. Go ahead.
You talk about the purpose of life being having courage, and I wanted to say thank you to you, because I used to be so repressed, and yeah. I don't think I'm standing up properly yet.
It's a beginning.
Yeah, I almost want to say I'm conditioned to be stubborn, and now I'm because that's part of speaking up sometimes.
Well, I'm stubborn. I'm stubborn in what I know is right in my heart. Now, what's right in my heart might be wrong.
Yeah, but it's not.
So it's the right. It's the right. It's the right kedusha, which is mindset. It's the right kind of mindset. It's a mindset that is the will of the world, and look for the reassurance of the will of the world, and you need a dictator for that, or a gang leader, who will reassure you wrong is right. See that?
Yes.
But then there's that's more visible. That's what most people look for, is a visible savior. And the visible savior is, in that sense that I referred to just now, is dangerous. This is how whole nations become converted to fascism and communism and Marxism and all the terrible genocide you've seen.
And you see that in every organization too. I mean, like at work, you always get somebody.
I like that. Now, organization. You know, I don't want you. I'm your friend and not your fiend, or your friend, which is a friend that rises to the occasion of your need and gives you a sense of worth that's worthless. See, I'm speaking in the language of Jesus. See, I'm saying things to you that simply is common sense to you. And so then you're codependent, and you've made the person, if you put me on a pedestal, you made me in your mind. I'm not going to be part of that. So you'll get frustration because I don't look at you in a pleasant way. I'm friendly, but I'm a different kind of friendly. I won't let you if you can do it secretly if you want to, but I do not encourage you to belong to this organization. I don't want you to belong to the Foundation of Human Understanding. The IRS would want you to belong, but in a sense you come and that's all you need. Or you listen, that's all you need. You don't have to come to my talks. You can just listen to me on the radio or watch my CD or watch my videos or whatever. But you don't have to come, you don't have to belong. If you belong to anything, you do not belong to God. You cannot do both. So if you go to a church and you belong to that church, you're finished. You're dead. Now you've got nice Christian values, but you got verses and chapters, and you don't know what he's talking about. For example, as I'm talking to you right now, a lot of people feel offended if they're watching on the TV, on the video. A lot of people be very angry. The minute I open my mouth and say these few little things, if you belong to anything, they could belong to a gang, they could belong to a church, but the belonging is the same. I would rather, if I was in an alley between a bar and a church and it's midnight, I'd rather have Christians who went to church pour out rather than drunks. You see, I'd rather have that, but it's still behavior. But one behavior is not strong enough. The church behavior is not strong enough, although it's good. The words are good. The words of Jesus are good. But the point is, they've made the preacher stand in the way of God, because he's speaking from verses and chapters himself. He went to school. You can't be a preacher and go to school. It has to be natural. You know, who was Abraham's rabbi? Go through the whole list of them. Who was their rabbi? Moses. Who had a rabbi? He didn't. He was heir to the throne, if you can call it a throne, of Egypt. Pharaoh. He could have been the next Pharaoh. Pharaoh loved him. But then he was wandering in the desert and he got married at 40 years. It was 40 years before. He was 80 when he led the children of Israel out of Egypt. But who was his rabbi? None. You took all of them, even David. He was a shepherd. Yeah, better off have a shepherd, more common sense than an intellectual. You don't want to learn you don't want to learn religion. Jesus came to save you from learning the religion, just a mouth, verses, and chapters. And so it depends upon what mouth it comes out of. If you have love, does it come from your gut? Or does it come from your heart that's filled with love? So the more love you have, the more you give that love, not wanting it back, the more you have to give. So you don't really need to have anything back. So if you love to be loved, it's thieves and robbers loving thieves and robbers. What profit is there in that? Correct? Anything I've said that makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Are you an appeaser? Do you? Is she an appeaser?
No.
Does she go along to get along?
Not too much, but some, yes.
Yeah. Is she angry, or is she angry a lot?
That's, yes.
And how do you deal with the anger?
I try to calm her down. I try to calm her down and have her see the reality of this situation.
What does she get angry about?
Oh,
Nothing?
well, right now she has a problem with a hip, and she wants to get up, and she's very frustrated.
Okay, stop right there. How does frustration help you when you can't get up? Answer me the question. How does it help you if you get frustrated, which means you're angry at your own self? Answer me the question. How does it help you? Does it help you, yes or no, or does it kill you?
I don't get angry.
Not true.
I observe.
No, it's not true. It's not true, is it?
I
He sees
observe.
it, but you don't. Now, if you don't see it, you die.
Because I
Because
see somebody harming.
angry at him will kill you. Angry at yourself will kill you. Do you understand the danger you're in?
We're not speaking.
I'm not sitting in a chair like you are, and I've gone through 10 times worse than you, but 100 times worse. I never got angry at my condition. It is what it was. I patiently waited for my understanding of it, and it went away. And that will happen to you. Look at your anger. You are in denial. You don't. Are you an angry person? Do you get upset?
No, I don't think of myself as an
You
angry
don't think
person.
so? You actually don't think you get angry? Are you perfect?
No.
What are you imperfect about? What is your imperfection? Is it your disease that you
Not
think?
speaking up.
Huh?
Not speaking up.
Yes. Now, what do you want to say to him? What have you hidden that you haven't said to him? You judge him. You're judging him for some reason. He's a bit weak. He's not a strong man. When he married you, he looked for you approval. You looked for approval for her, didn't you? You looked for her for love. Men, you do not look to a woman for love, ever. How many people understand what I'm talking about? How many ladies understand? Yes, that's more important. Women don't want you to love them, to put them on a pedestal so as that woman will rise to the occasion of your need to be a fool that's filled. See? A fool filled. See, all men are dangerously in love in the Eve nature that's buried deep down, that's passed through the generations, which proved Paradise Lost actually existed. Every woman is an Eve. Every single one, without any exception. So, is a daughter of Eve. And every man's a son of a bitch. Got it? And the son of a bitch will go back to the bitch to be son of. See? And so therefore the love of a man is there's two faults, both faults, but faults you inherit. The man born of woman, see, has has an inclination to look to her for the reassurance of what came through that system of the generations. Sin. She can't help rising to the occasion of his need as if she was a child of heaven. In a manner of speak, deep down inside, as deep as you can go, as silent as it go, it's something there waiting to unfold and to snare the man. And she cannot help it, she cannot see it, and if she could see it, she still cannot stop it.
I have noticed from women, they want to control you. They want to be your mother figure. The most, it may be it is probably my fault that I seek
Can
women
you stand
like
up
that.
so you can be
Sure.
seen? Thank you.
I found that the most women that I've been attracted to, I'm not going to say everybody, all women, but the women that I have been attracted to, I found out that I actually was looking for my mother.
Yes.
But, okay, the
The
second part.
reassurance of your mother.
Right, but the part is there's a lot when they want to control you. They want to be your mother, and they're just looking for that thing. And then they tease you, pull back.
They're having
tease you.
sex with their mother. That's what
Yeah,
they're
that's
having.
essentially what it is. Yeah,
But that makes it perverted.
Of course it does. Yeah, I agree.
And that is the beginning of hell.
Yeah,
That-
I know all
there
about
nothing
that.
good can come from it. Nothing. Ever. And where you find this in books, it's better you didn't get married than go to hell getting married and ruin your children. And being a good provider and being a kind man without virtue, without having resolved whatever problem he has with women, because every man born of woman has a problem with women. There's something's missing, because the seed that brought you into existence wasn't pure. That's why you needed a woman that conceived without the seed of a man. That was the difficult part. And Joseph took pity on her and saw she was a decent woman and married her and made it kosher. See? And so only such a man is believable. And if you believe such a man and really believe him in all the things you said in the Bible, I didn't know for many years I'm Jewish, so I didn't have to change my religion to be a Christian, but then there's no such thing as Christian. That's a name you give to when you belong to a church. See, but if you belong to a church, you really don't belong to Jesus. You belong to something, and it's the preacher that gets in the way. I don't want to get in your way, because I don't want a church. I won't go to church. I won't be caught dead in one. Pardon me. Now, there could be, this is a church, but this is how a church should be. We talk. I'm not going to stand here and write my little litany, my little speech, and carefully say everything I said. That doesn't come from the heart. It's just a good speech. And all the words are very good, and they're very inspiring, but it really is outspiring. It's not the same. Everything has to come from the heart. Do you think I practiced anything before I came in here to give you a talk? I don't know what I'm going to say next. I don't know what you're going to ask me next. But I have an answer for it, because it's intuitive. And your question is intuitive.
You say you have to come from the heart, but
Can you stand? Yeah, thank you.
you say you have to come from the heart.
Yes.
But then just a few minutes ago, you said that you said something from the heart, but you didn't know. I don't remember if you said you didn't know if it was right or someone else didn't know if it was. You didn't know if it was right, and it came from the heart.
I'm not quite sure you understand what you're saying.
Oh, you think he was joking? Oh, because when you said that, because I noticed
I'm
my
glad you're speaking up. It's all right.
Because I notice my heart is changing. But when you said
It's not
that,
really the heart, though, is it?
Right,
It's
it's-
not really the heart, but that's the word for it.
okay,
That's
because
it's-
I notice
I know what
the
you
heart
mean.
can be deceptive,
No.
but as the heart's changing, it's like, okay, do you really still trust
Yeah,
that
but
heart
it
as
does
it's
come.
changing?
It does
It's a
come
spirit.
through. It becomes through your heart.
The spirit comes through
Yeah,
your
the
heart,
spirit-
and
the
that's
spirit.
what you're trusting,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, that makes it clear.
Okay.
Isn't it nice you talked and didn't speak?
I am, because
See what
if-
happens if you don't speak up? You get stuck with the wrong idea.
Yeah, and I
And
knew
you
I
go
was
down.
stuck with the wrong idea, but it was just a
Yeah,
little
it's
twist.
wonderful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Yes. What have you learned today? I know you've come a long way, but I can't focus on you only because you're
No.
stubborn.
No,
You are stubborn. You
I've
are
been-
stubborn to your death if you're not careful.
I've been going to your school of thought for 35 years.
You haven't learned a damn thing.
What
I've
do
been
I-
married 63 years, she's never learned a damn thing, just till recently. It takes time sometimes.
Well, then I have
This
more
is your time right here.
Yes.
My wife's a good woman. She had a bad life as a kid, and it took that long to wake her up.
I
Okay?
admit that what you
She's
say
just starting
is
to
true.
wake up, and she's smart. She's smart. Lips. No, she is smart. But she's also losing her memory because she's so smart.
Mine has
Yeah,
improved.
yeah, that's right. She's got a
Over,
memory for too many too many things and too many excuses.
I don't make the excuse.
Yeah. You tell me what's wrong with your wife. You tell me what you think. What is her behavior? You're not a strong man.
No.
No, you're not. Because I can see you. I read you. If I was ISIS, I'd kill you. You're too easy.
Well,
I don't mean to be rude, but
the problem is, especially recently, she doesn't see reality. Her mind wanders
no, she
into
doesn't want to see
into
you.
a sort of dreamy
But
state.
she hates you. You know why? Is that way? She wasn't that way when you married her, did she?
No.
Okay. So, when she did something wrong, how did you deal with it? When she took liberties, they all do. They all take liberties to see what you do, and they want to be stopped.
Correct.
They really want to be stopped. But if you have a need for her, you won't stop her because you don't want to offend her, and you don't get your goodies. There it is, right there. See? There it
Being ignored is worse than.
is. What'd you say? Say it again.
Being ignored is worse.
Can
She thinks she's being ignored.
say it again? Calm down and say it.
Being ignored.
Or being ignored. Yeah, being rejected, right?
No, yes.
But now, what does it mean to be rejected? Tell me. Now you're on the right track.
Will it be like you're speaking up
Yeah.
and then rejecting what you're saying?
In other words, he doesn't. So give me an example of speaking up. Give me something you want to. Give me something you want to tell him now.
What was he doing now?
Well, but
There are things I wouldn't say in this room right now because of it.
say, translate for me.
She'll call me crazy in that storage because I noticed
Is she
this
saying
demon
that-
of his.
I just tell her to get out of her dreamy state and back into reality.
I'm
And
looking at reality. He tells me there's people behind this metal here.
She's saying she's confusing
That
you
you
about
can't see,
reality.
or that you can't see, only I can see. What do you do with a person like that?
Go ahead. You're speaking more clearly. Keep going.
Well, it could be anything. It could be offense. It could be anything.
Well,
And he tries to tell
give
me
an
it's not
example. We're talking now. Give me an example.
He'll say, as I've spoken up to that point, that there are people, there aren't any people in this room.
Yeah.
They don't exist. And this kind of weird stuff coming at me, calling me insane.
So he's saying to you, just let me see if I get you right.
This is what I mean by ignored.
It's as though that the people in this room don't know.
I'm calling you on the carpet too.
Yeah, keep, what do you mean? Go ahead. Put me on the
Well,
carpet.
this is only one thing. You're telling me that there are people behind this mantle or wherever it happens to be. I have witnesses that have heard him say these weird, outlandish things that real
Give me,
real
give me
crazies.
an example.
Well, I just gave you one. That's one.
What, I didn't hear, I didn't understand it.
You didn't understand it?
No, please help me to
Well,
understand
this
it.
is the thing. It's the thing that the devil.
Go ahead. Explain me one situation where he ignores you.
He's part of my problem,
How is he?
and I'm dealing with his problem along with my own.
I know, but how do you deal with it? Do you ever get angry when he does that?
No.
No.
There's
You
nothing to
act-
be angry at. The man's insane. An insane person is not angry. He's just misled and hasn't delved into the...
I said, are you angry?
No,
When
I'm
you-
not. I'm not even angry at him, and he's beating the hell out of me.
Do you know who's talking to you right now?
Who?
It's not her.
I know.
This is what I'm talking about.
But
Something else
he's not-
speaks out.
He is, look, he's not as strong as he should be.
You're
correct?
right. You're right. I agree. As a man, he
Yeah.
isn't.
He's not as strong as, see, he, when he corrects you, is too weak. He's got the right idea, but he hasn't got the strength to say it like that.
Over
no,
what
no,
is
no,
it?
listen. There are times when you speak to a person and say, you know, you have to watch your anger.
I've said those
There's
things.
and then you say it nicely. Then there's a time to say, excuse me, but what you angry with me about? I'm not angry. Oh, yes, you are. And you calm down a little bit. Got to do just the opposite of what the other person's doing. You can be angry, you can be strong without being angry, and you can be gentle without being angry. And you can work between the two, and that is intuitive. I'm playing with you that way too.
This is beyond
I am
that.
not throwing it, I'm not condemning you at all. You will condemn yourself because you are self-deceived. You are self-deceived. I'm not going to give him a medal because if I was your husband and my wife will testify, I'm not shy in saying what I have to say in no uncertain words. But it's got no anger in it.
He yells at
But
people on the
she gets
freeway.
no, then she gets angry. He's actually telling you the truth. He will try to tell you the truth, but it isn't strong enough. And the dark side of you takes advantage of it and turns it around and makes him look like the bad guy.
Oh, that's what my mother does to me.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, there she is.
She said, that's my mother.
Hi, Mother. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to say, but Roy, I've been suppressed for so many years, and I just don't
I don't know why you're
speak
still
up.
alive.
I don't either. And I just,
But maybe God loves you to keep you long enough.
I never speak up. I never do. I was suppressed since I was a child,
Okay.
and it was a carryover all my life.
Were you suppressed as a little child?
No, I was a happy child.
You were a happy child. And he made you miserable, right?
I didn't know him.
Who made you, who broke you the way you're broken? Who broke you?
I think...
You are a broken person, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
I mean,
I know where it's coming from, and I know it's happening. I just can't
where
break through.
is it coming from? Please help me.
I told you some of the things he's done, and some I saw them. Illegal things.
Is he a mean guy?
You'd think butter wouldn't melt in his mouth. That's how people think of him. They'd marry him in a minute. And if he really knew what he was like, you'd be a
I
completely
know what he's
different.
like. He's weak.
It's worse than weak.
Yeah, no.
He's inside.
Yeah, I get it. Maybe he could be worse than weak.
He's really
There's
worse.
weak and weaker.
I often wonder if I wake up the next day being
I think you
honest.
hate him for his weakness,
I wouldn't doubt
because
it.
he's silent.
I was 19 then,
I know,
and that could possibly be.
yeah. So why don't you divorce him?
The thoughts have been entertaining my mind.
What do you say?
She says the thoughts have been entertaining her mind,
The thoughts of it,
have been entertaining her mind of divorcing.
yeah.
I
Well, why
just haven't.
didn't you?
Well, I'm preparing for those issues.
No, you're addicted to judging him.
No,
You're,
there's
you're
somebody.
addicted to judging. You don't have you have no security in yourself. You feel
Oh
empty.
yeah,
No, you're empty. You're addicted to judging. You're addicted. You know what addicted means?
when
You're
the
a drug-
man,
you're a drug addict.
when
And
a
you know
man
what
has
your-
beaten
you know
you-
what your drug. You know what your drug is?
I can show you
Emotion.
places where he's beaten me.
I don't believe you.
It's true.
I don't believe he's touched you.
He has certainly has touched me.
I don't believe that.
The pain is so
Have
bad.
you
It's,
have you ever beaten her?
Never.
Never.
oh,
He's
that-
not the kind.
He doesn't see
He's
it.
not the kind.
Yes, he is. He deceives
No, what he
people.
does, he shuts up. And when he shuts up, you don't you
He's
get
the best
frustrated.
deceiver in the world.
No, when he
outside of
shuts
the
up,
devil.
you get frustrated.
He even
You can't get to
Can't-
but
In the
you aren't
end-
getting to him. No, listen carefully, because these people, I'm talking to them more than I am to you. You don't get it. When you are difficult, he shuts up when he shouldn't shut up. But he never had the virtue. I'm speaking about it, but he's got the right idea.
That's right.
It's not good, but it's good, but it's not good enough. Correct? It isn't spiritual. It hasn't got any strength, like I'm speaking to you. Because I can speak to you this way too. See, I can speak this way.
When I was at
You're really
home,
angry.
No, this is suicidal.
when I was still living at home,
It is.
Yeah.
my parents never argued. And
You what?
so my parents never argued. If something came up, my father would walk out.
Okay. So you got a problem.
Yes.
Okay. Here's
My
your
example wasn't very good.
problem. No, your example.
Now, we bumped into you quite a few years ago, quite a few. And I started seeing a different way to look at things.
Fair enough.
Right, and then I started speaking up. And the wrath of mother came through.
I get it.
Right,
I get it. So you didn't speak up, but now you are.
right.
Yeah, but maybe. But now I speak up to my wife. It doesn't always work. She gets a fit, and And,
I get that.
yeah, that's right. You get it. Yeah. So it's Eve. Eve can't help being Eve, and you can't help being son of Eve instead of saying the other way. See, I don't have to say son of a bitch every time.
Apparently you do.
Well, actually, he does.
But the point is, I want to make the point, and I want to drive it home. See, so, but she needs correction. But the trouble is, you understood that you needed to speak up, but you also understand whether you speak up with weakness without the Holy Spirit. Okay, you speak up because you think you should, or you speak up because the Spirit won't put up with nonsense, and it isn't you speaking. It's like I'm not speaking to you, something speaks through me to you, so my speech isn't from my intellect. My speech is guided by the Spirit, so it looks like me talking. It looks like Jesus is talking. But then he says, why callest thou me good? Only Father to heaven is good, right? Yeah. The things, anyway, that's about, there's another one I want to mention, but I can't think of it for this minute, but that was good enough. He's not God. God is speaking through him. And that is the first time in human history that ever happened. That is a very important moment in the history of this country and this world. I mean, I meant the whole world. And Christianity is absolutely magnificent if it comes from within naturally. It flows because you can't help but being a good person. any more than you can help being a bad one or a weak one. A weak one is just as bad as a bad one. See? So you speaking up had a deleterious effect on her because it wasn't sufficient.
That's right.
Me speaking up to my wife and putting her in her place, with all due respect, I'm married 63 years, she comes to my lectures, still hasn't got it yet, but she's going to get it.
Thanks.
I know it. No, but she is. I will persevere. I never get tired of persevering. I just, if I may make a point, I've spent 6 months every day on 4 pages for my thesis. I just finished it, sent it to universities already. See, but 6 months, not stopping. I get it. Another, God, 50, 60, 100 pages of stuff. All I did was take little pieces from all of them, put it together. But did I get an education? Do I have an education in science? Do I have an education in religion or psychology? No. I don't need an education. The educator is within me. He knoweth what I need before I speak. He knoweth what I need before I ask. See? You don't have to ask him for anything. Just redemption from the world. Be still and know it. Simple. So what happened to you is you were telling her the truth, but it lacked believability. It lacked the strength that makes a person angry.
Like begging.
Yes.
I know.
That's right. Please let's not argue. Please let's argue. When I say shut up, we're going to start, it shuts up. Okay? And maybe mumbling a little bit. You see? But I don't get affected. I don't get infected. She may not get infected with what I want to affect her with, but it's not a will. She doesn't have to.
See, that relieves her.
I don't know if it's going to relieve her of anything before she leaves here. We'll see. Okay. But you've done the right thing to bring her here. Okay. But now, my lesson to you is here. This sounds very rough, very difficult, but you need to raise your voice a little bit more and shut her up when she starts to get angry. And don't care whether she lives or dies. Do you understand what I just said? I said this to my own wife. I said, if you start to fight with me when I know I'm telling you the truth, and you're screwing things up and you're twisting things, if you don't see it, you'll die.
That's how I am with my kids. They keep coming
Who understands what I'm talking about? It's not, I don't mean to hurt you, but it does hurt. And if you hate the hurt, if you hate me for hurting you when I'm not, you die. Or you just linger a little longer, and maybe you come to the truth. And that's also a possibility. But that's better than me being angry with you, so you only have 2 choices, be angry with me or submit to me. Both. So it's the way you do it. But the way you do it is the way of the Creator. Meaning, you do not worry about what you say. Whether you're throwing the money changers out of the temple, there is in Aramaic, kedusha, and there's another one that has another word attached to that. I can't remember it, but it doesn't make a difference. It's just a noise to you. But it has the flavor, the intonation of force. It's the same thing as, selfhood. The word is selfhood. But this selfhood has one of two sources of information. One is information coming from within. One's outformation coming from the world. So the tendency is, which one are you influenced by? See? And so that mindset, that's what it is. Or selfhood or selfhood. What kind of selfhood is there? Now, if you are coming from the energy, if you're coming from the intellect of the world and the memory, and you're speaking from memory and there's authority of memory, it's not the same thing as having the same words inside you. I have words inside me. I speak English. Naturally, my brain is full of English words, and I can understand what you're saying, and you can understand what I'm saying, but there's also a selfhood that doesn't want to understand. It prefers the support of this. The selfhood looks to the external world for its reassurance. Verses and chapters. See, intellectual learning, as my friend here, he can testify to what intellect does to an individual because he's used to be an intellectual. And still, you still are a little bit, you still are.
I had all the great ideas and everything.
Give it to him.
I had all the right ideas.
Right ideas, yes.
But the trouble was I was acting out of the right ideas.
Yes.
And that's not where you're
And
supposed to
not
act.
from the source.
Yeah,
of
it's,
those
it's,
ideas.
and the right ideas got in the way of the source.
It did.
See?
And the approval for those right ideas is, right? Look what a wonderful guy he is. Got a lot of knowledge.
Got them all down.
Yeah.
But I was becoming a lousy person with the right ideas. And I saw the conflict, and I don't know why I saw it, nobody else does, but I saw it, and it troubled me deeply.
Now the trouble, that's a good thing it troubles you deeply, because that's the beginning of repentance. That's right. And you had an exorcism, if I remember right. It was so deep.
Yes.
Yeah. And, yes.
But that's exactly what a woman feels.
Yeah, can you stand up?
Is this
Because you're
intellect?
better looking than he is.
Is this is this intellect? Oh dear.
I have little brain.
I had the brain freeze. Is this? Oh, okay. Is this intellect that? Okay, when you're dealing with your husband and he's correcting you or something, whether he's coming from a good spirit or not,
Yeah.
you are, as a woman, you're to submit, basically. And
Let's be careful of the word submit.
okay, you are
Willful.
right. But that's a natural part of the fallen woman, is to
Overcome the man and be the boss.
overcome the man, but inside she knows that she is, I don't know what word to put, because we're not really under you, but the spirit,
Shush.
you respectfully, there's like there's like a protocol. In the fallen nature, there's God, Jesus, man, woman, child.
There's an order.
There's an
divine
order.
Yeah.
Now,
It can't be
What-
reversed.
exactly. But what I saw is, okay, when we're starting to come, the Ten Commandments take us on a path, a narrow path, where we can find the door. Part of that Ten Commandments is this order of God, Jesus, man, woman.
Correct.
But when you get to that door and it opens, that you see your understanding, your education comes direct from Jesus, and what I'm starting to see is there's no man over me anymore. Even though I'm not married, even if I was married, I realize that
Correct.
that order would not exist because it's in my heart. Because I know
You don't
that
have to
I
be
would
told.
have. I don't have to be
It doesn't
told.
be mechanical.
I know that if I am talking to a man or something, I will know or be.
Let's hold it.
Okay, I don't want to go too far in
It's
that,
okay.
but
Go ahead. I want to jump in here quickly.
okay, go ahead and jump.
Yeah, because what you're saying is that is the divine order, and it has to be encompassed with some kind of part of a commandment. a learning process.
Right,
Earthly
exactly.
one, earthy one. However, that's too mechanical, because you have a right as a wife to speak up to your husband, but not overcome him with it. It's to speak up and to disagree.
Right, exactly.
But
it's done with respect.
Done with respect.
But it's not necessary, I know we've talked about this before, where it's done with respect for him being the husband and you being the wife. And say he's, okay, say he's dealing with someone, and he's a little off, or not right. But you are entitled to, you know how sometimes you will correct your wife because she does it in public? A woman is entitled to do that to her husband.
That's right.
But when she is guided with the Spirit, it's all done with respect, or from that.
It's as though I would speak to President Reagan.
Yes.
If I was one of his orderlies or whatever, one of his cabinet, I would speak, excuse me, Mr. President, but I don't agree with what you have to say. And the president, if he is a good man or a bad man, doesn't make much difference. You still have to say, make your point. And he may get angry for a minute. And these are the things, if you speak up to your husband or speak up to the president, that he may punish you. But then you still learn, not to be angry or resentful towards that. You've said it, and then you develop a boldness that cannot be broken. It doesn't have to. Your husband does not have to agree with you, but you've spoken it up in a proper way, and then bad things happen because he's a bad leader.
Yeah.
So that you have to. So now you lose all your money, and the roof's leaking. See,
Actually, it's like, because I was thinking.
But you know the outcome. You have to, when you're married to him, you have to understand that he's in charge.
Right.
And you've got to be very careful how you marry a man, and not give yourself to any Tom, Dick, or Harry. To make sure you make sure you marry properly, and that's why dating and courting is an important thing for several years. So you know what crazy I was, married in two weeks. So I could testify to all this. But the point is, what my wife says to me over and over again. I'd said to her, "I'm going to marry you." I didn't ask her to marry me.
He told me.
And if I said we're going to go to this movie, he says, "I want to go to a different one." I said, "You go to me, or you go by yourself." That is leadership, and she liked that. But still, she brings broken life with her into the marriage.
Right.
So I'm all right with that, because I know that's the way. It's the way I can be the father she never had. But first of all, I have to be the husband.
But there's a
then I become the father.
There's a real challenge there for a woman when she's being corrected by the husband properly.
Oh yes, of course.
It's because if she does what he says, there's that little voice in her telling her she is doing what he wants her to do.
That's a difficult
and
situation.
That's the difficult part,
it
because you have to get to the part of wanting that spirit that's leading you to lead her, and she is guided by that spirit. Not yes.
You want the answer to that?
Okay.
Then you are married to him, and you disagree with him vehemently, not vehemently with anger.
Yeah.
But silently understand he's going to have to do what he has to do, and there's nothing you can do about it, but don't resent him for it. He will undergo, and you have to suffer with him. You have to suffer with his mistakes, and not say, I told you. See, you got to. It is necessary. When listen, President Obama, we are suffering under his tutelage, are we not?
Are we
It's the same
suffering?
relationship.
Is a woman suffering under a man's when
There's
she's
a time
married
for a
because they
but-
become one, basically? I mean, there's
No,
a...
she becomes
there's a-
one with God. You understand that in order for you to speak up to your husband and
Oh,
disagree,
she's suffering with the God that's in you that's gotten a little,
in other words, the man has fallen.
has fallen. Okay, I
Now,
got it.
you've got to deal with it as a woman. A man is much stronger than you, but you can be stronger than him in the way you don't react to him.
React to him.
Don't react to him
And
because
that's how
he's,
it
oh,
helps
he's going
him.
to make a mistake, I can see it. See, a woman, the ideal marriage is that you wait and see for a couple of years before you get married to see, because you are equally equipped to see the truth that sets you free as he is, except he has to lead it. And
That's
if you
what I'm
marry,
seeing,
if you
and
marry
it
the
didn't-
wrong kind in a hurry for other reasons, because it's convenient or you think you're in love with him, and because you are imperfectly perfect in a sense, nice on the surface but angry inside, and you see an opportunity of having, a better life, so you attach yourself to this person. That's not the way. And so what you're talking about is marrying a man too hastily for whatever gratification, for whatever advantages there's in it. But you really, as a woman, should really, really wait several years. There are good men there, but the good in the woman can recognize the good in the man. If she is naughty, if she is rebellious, if she's willful, she'll pick the wrong one. If there's a wrong reason for you to marry that person for convenience because your father died or something, it doesn't matter. You will have to suffer from that. See? And either the man gets better and you both get better, or he gets worse but you get better. And he drops dead and marries somebody else, but you're still alone with the children with love. So now you have the power of God in you, because that is why he ran away, because you were more right than he is. See that? And now you've learned your lesson because you married in a hurry, etc., all the wrong reasons. Deep down inside you can see that that's the case. Correct? See? Now I married my wife intuitively. I was driving the car. I said, what did I do that for? Not yet. No, it was that intuitive. It was intuitive. Yeah. I only knew her 2 weeks. She was in hospital. I didn't know. I was doing my rounds. I was diamond cutting, doing demonstrations and speeches in schools on radio and television for the local jewelry store. And I picked up the phone to call her. She's not well. I got in my car, drove 300 miles and married her. That was all. And I only knew her 2 weeks.
I was standing on the side of the road waiting.
She was surprised.
Yeah.
She was very surprised. And so, but I never regretted any of it. I've got my kids, a good family. They all got problems, little problems, big ones, and they don't even know they have it yet. But I'm going to be living long enough to show it to them, because it's very subtle. They're all good kids. They're all good kids. See, and I've got wonderful grandchildren.
We have a couple of greats too.
Yeah, great
We call
grandchildren.
them our greats. They're smarter than all of us.
Anyway, you understand now? See, because if your husband walks away from your, not your bravado, because that sounds a bit too willful, but it's a kind of bravado that's kosher. Kosher, meaning you know what's right and he's wrong, and when you know what's right in your heart because you knew it, you should have known it before you got married to this man, and you didn't, for your being broken and all kinds of things. These things do happen. Not your fault. See, when you come into the world, you get broken, and you have insecurities, and you want security, and the security somehow centers around a man. So it should. He's got to be both father, and he's got to be your husband, but then your father, because Eve. In other words, the relationship between man and woman eventually is Adam goes, Eve goes back to Adam, and they become, instead of married, they become father and daughter. And daughter. So I speak to my daughters as exactly as they're independent individuals. They're married, my daughter's married and got a husband. But I can also guide her in dealing with that husband. See that? But in the end, if the husband isn't any good, he is a good person, so he's just broken little bits and pieces. And he's coming around. And this is part of the unfolding. But in the end, the perfect relationship, you walk off into the sunset, or you walk into the sunrise as husband, father, and daughter. You become the daughter of this man, because woman was taken out of man. Do you see that?
Grandpa, I think you just think that fatherly, that is father.
No, actually not fatherly. It's fatherly, then father. Eventually, it's the father.
It's the father in you.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Oh.
Yeah, I get that. That's reasonable. That is reasonable. It's another take on it. Yes. No argument.
Okay. I think he just answered what I was going to ask. So it's father and daughter going, but it's the father with, I'm sorry.
First of all, you're the wife. And then he becomes a father of the children, and then a father to you eventually, because you need to be corrected. He cannot go on being involved in looking for a woman's love. He has, because all men look to a woman for love. They all do. They go back to the scene of the crime.
Right, but can't I wake up completely without
Without a husband?
Well, without a husband or a man.
You don't need a husband.
That has.
That's what I say.
If you're married, it has to come, or not has to come. It goes back to the order.
No, you have to stand up to your husband. You've got to when he's right, but you have to do it in a way that comes from the Spirit, because you have a Spirit that gives you to know right and wrong too, and not just a bunch of opinions. You have the clarity, and now you may not have the clarity, and you may have chutzpah, which means chutzpah, you nerve. You want to confuse him. No, I'm speaking of the ideal way, whereby you see he's going wrong, and since you have I could kind of find your ear to the ground, a snake's eye view. Then you have women have the ability to understand the world better than the man, because that's her world. That's what she's embroiled with. Her. She can see this and say, "Husband, look, this is what I can see. You can't." And then you speak up to him firmly, graciously, and if he doesn't see it, don't get angry. Try again. If he doesn't see it, well, then you see, look, I told you about these things. I want to tell you. You don't stop. You don't sit there suppressed or anything. You don't. I never stop correcting her if it's necessary to make her see a point. And sometimes the most important point is being angry and irritable is the hardest thing to get rid of, because once you have fallen, once you have broken history from your family, you've been running on that energy all your life, and you grow up to be, the first phase of salvation is to be a full-grown human being. And as you're growing up to being a human being, it accommodates all the little broken pieces, but after a point you can't, you're beginning to get to the end of all that, and there's something wrong with it. And there's nothing wrong with an animal, because he grows with all those bits and pieces coming from reacting and fighting and then dying and being injured. There's no spiritual something but inside that. But within the human being, you can grow up beautiful, comely, broken, inside, drunk. You can still go through that up to a certain point where it's time for you to see things. And with a noble person, all the pleasures of life, all the drugs, all the alcohol, all of a sudden seem to be not so much fun anymore. Where do I go from here? You got the idea? You had that feeling, haven't you?
Yes.
See?
Yeah.
See? And then you
can't speak up. You can't speak up with anger.
No, you can't. No,
because
that's what I
it
said.
blinds the truth. It shields the truth.
You
All
can't correct
you
somebody with
see.
anger. They become angry back.
Yes.
But now, if you speak without anger, and they're angry back, you don't get angry back at them. And then all of a sudden it has its power. They react to you not reacting. And so therefore they can't judge you without feeling terribly guilty. And guilt is what you need guilt is what they need to see things. Otherwise they make you guilty. See, if you get upset, you're guilty and he looks at you. But if you don't react, his guilt shows up, because the only way he can get rid of guilt in the old ways without God is to make you more guilty than them and make you guilty for speaking up to the point that they may want to kill you, like Herod did with John, right? John the Baptist.
That's precisely what kept me from speaking up most of my life. I had this suppressed anger, so that it made me Mr. Nice Guy, and I saw, and I saw throughout my life, I was like,
You mentioned that last time.
yeah, and I tended to be attracted to strong personalities. And I realized, when I start to let the anger go and the irritations, the natural strength then came. And then when I really like what you said. It's so true about the courage thing, because all the truth in the world doesn't mean anything if you're not going to take a stand on it. And when I started to take a stand, and even on small things.
Absolutely small things.
Yes, like if they don't deal with you right at Starbucks or something, you
Right.
mention it.
Yeah.
And it's with a good spirit, because you don't want them to hurt the business, and it hurts you too. And it's a different...
That's what I do.
Right.
You know what I say? I used to, when I go to restaurants, I don't like going to restaurants very much. But when I went to restaurants and the food was not good, it happens quite a few times
Sure.
when I'm going out to different places to give talks.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, could I speak to the management, please?
Right.
And they would come and say, look, I really want you to do want you to succeed in business. Do you ever have complaints? No. I said, well, I'm complaining. And so I just want to tell you, because nobody else will tell you.
Right.
They just won't come back.
That's right.
And then the chances are 10 to 1, he's going to get angry.
Happens.
Okay? But the one time, it works.
Sure.
And either way, it's okay with me if he wants to lose his business, but it works okay. It's okay both ways.
Right. It's wonderful. Yeah, yes, and
I can see what I'm supposed to do.
That's right. It's a free way to live. I love it, and when I wasn't that way, I got the approval of people, and I lived off of approval, being Mr. Nice Guy. Right, and then when that started to change, I got all kinds of criticism and et cetera. It doesn't matter, and then the approval dropped off, but the love within became the real approval. That's right. The real thing.
That's your freedom. You should know the truth, and it sets you free.
Absolutely.
From looking for people to love thee.
Right.
It rhymes.
And then you're free to become like what you really were meant to be, and you become like a maverick, but it's in a good way.
I'm a maverick.
Yes.
You don't want to mess with me. Basically.
But it's not an ego thing at all. It's a allegiance to right, to God.
You know what? People say, I get so mad. He made me do it. I said, what made you do it? What made you do it? Did he make you do it? Did he force you to do it? Did he get hold of you? Did he wring your neck? Did he make you do something? No. I said, what made you do it? See, it's your anger there's always, this is what you need to answer, that every time you're intimidated by a woman, by men, by anything, anybody, every time that's your test. That's your test. Or someone misspeaks or tells a lie, I stand up in a college. I mean, I was on the stage in a big college, and having a debate. And when I finished, I went back in the audience, and then they had a group of people. One was a chaplain, and they misspoke. They said, criticized me for something that I didn't say. I got up, says, I didn't say that. This is what I said. Sat down. And they did it again. And they said, I get up. I said, I didn't say that. This is what I said. You're twisting things. I sat down again. And the whole college got into an uproar. I don't care.
Right.
See?
That's right, because the truth is paramount, period.
It's everything, and you have to die living like that.
Yep.
See, the only person that says on the radio that the President of the United States is a communist, a Marxist, and bringing you down is me. No one said it. And I don't care if I go to jail, because I can help everybody in jail. Because I've been in jail before, and the whole jail was an uproar. They had to move me into another, just for 30 days. I was, just quickly, I had the Institute of Hypnosis, and I had already discovered what I know now, then. I was helping people right and left, and the psychiatrist was losing all the business. See? I understood hypnosis is what everybody's was wrong with you. It's trauma. That's what it is, basically, and I won't go into that, but you know I've spoken about that before. And so they sent a person in who was a patient of a psychiatrist. He was hypnotized against me, hypnotizing me. But I don't hypnotize people, I was unhypnotizing people, see. But you're supposed to sign a release form before he came in that I wasn't practicing medicine. And the lady was kind of weak. He said, tomorrow when I come back. He didn't come back tomorrow. He didn't sign that release. So it was a big paper, and I went to jail for 30 days. Big trial, practicing medicine without a license. I'm doing the same thing on the radio every day for the last 55 years. And I've been in jail again, not one time. Okay, but the point is, while I was there, when I walked into the big room where all the bad guys are, the Red Seas opened. I walked through them, and I divided the good ones from the bad ones, and we had a tank. I went to a tank. I was helping them overcome their problems. And it was full headlines in the newspaper, hypnotist practices spells in cells. And so, see, the thing is, there's a lot more to that story, because I got the psychiatrist that put him in hypnotic state to get me convicted. And they let me off. The warden calls me and he says, listen, this is political, Roy. So why don't you stop? I said, I can't. So he said, I'll let you off for 10 days for good behavior. So that was it. And so, but they put me in solitary. But the young men in there were so enamored with the help I gave them, they gave me chicken every day. See that? I had enough money for chicken for myself, but I didn't want to do it in front of them. See? I couldn't feed the whole jail. See, so I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to speak it out. This is free country. And the President of the United States works for me. I pay his bills. And I'm a citizen, and I demand a better behavior. But you don't. I don't hear it from anybody. Nobody. They all complain, but nobody says what he is. And if you don't call it what it is, that's why he won't call ISIS, he won't call the terrorism what it should be called.
No, it seems like the people in Congress, they talk all around it. You're talking right at it.
Yeah.
Someone should go have him arrested.
But
literally, he is breaking the law.
Exactly. If that's the case, and you can all see it, why aren't you all saying it? It's because you've been mesmerized not to speak. You're afraid of your consequence. Each one of you, every one of you, is afraid to speak up. You'll talk to each other, but you will not talk to the man. You will not talk at the man. If a person's a murderer, he's a murderer. And unless you put the label murderer on him, you can't convict him. And so therefore you die. The country dies. That's the whole idea. That's the whole problem if you're not speaking up. You can't speak up to your wife. You can't speak up to your kids. And the big problem with not speaking up is I forgot.
Can I take this opportunity to
Yes.
insert something along these lines?
Yes.
Speaking about Obama suppression, etc.
Well, I don't want to be political right now. I'm making the point, a bigger point, that's all.
This is pretty big, Mr. Masters.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Well, I don't know what could be important politically
She
speaking.
might need to, I think that if you think it's very important, then you should call into advice. But I don't think it should be on the Sunday
Yeah,
conversation.
if it's all I'm using my metaphors in is to show you how not only do you lose your own wife and your own children because you don't speak up to them in a proper way because they all need correction because they're born of woman. They're born of you, and you were imperfect when you were born, and you become perfect after you're born, as I did. In a manner of speaking, you can become imperfect not because you become imperfect because you're born, but you come into an imperfect culture. See, my culture I came into, my family was decent, but it doesn't mean to say that I couldn't be corrupted. See that to some degree, a little bit. It wasn't much. I was able to overcome it. I was able to see all my problems quickly and saw that I had a problem and saw how it looked like in me, because I could look at the person being mean to a person, and I can give you some examples, but I just don't want to spend time on that. But I can see how it looked, what that person was doing, then I could see the inclination of me having not yet done it, but how it looked like coming out of me. And then I was corrected by that person. In other words, I don't have to make the mistakes that somebody else can make the mistakes. So I can see it as a mistake because I can see I have the potential of making it. So I catch it nip it in the bud. And you will be able to do the same thing after a while.
That's almost like seeing Nazi Germany and what we as a country could become.
We are becoming.
I know.
See, there's. It was who was it? The Stalin. If I can remember, there's three things. It's if you can get people to become immoral and not stand up for themselves, and a few other things, and destroy their marriages. That's not the exact ones, but he says those three. If you can demoralize, just put it simply, if you can demoralize a country in these three ways, I forget exactly what they were, then you can own the country. You've got to demoralize them. If you demoralize them, you can control the country. And we are a demoralized country. 70 million people are on psychotropic drugs, mind-altering drugs. 70 million, and that's probably not enough. That's just the beginning of all woes. And our young people are gone, except for a few, I suppose. So I hear your politicians saying, I am going to make a fundamental change backwards. In America, I can bring America back. Nobody can bring America back unless you can return them to Paradise Lost, until you can return them back to marriage and relationships with each other properly. But you've got broken marriages, you've got children that are open to looking for another father. Looking to another father, which is the gang leader, you see, or ISIS, or whatever. Or taking it upon themselves to be murderers and thieves.
Roy, I got a phone call from a friend the other day.
What are you shaking for? What have you learned today?
I'm a friend of the Great One.
Huh?
I'm speaking to the Great One. You are greater than I, and I become overcome with your wisdom.
Speak more clear. Could you speak more plainly?
Didn't I say it well enough?
No?
Well, I would lose it, I guess, if I don't hang on to it. But you're the Great One to me at this time of my life, and I know it is wrong, and I can't stop it.
You know it's wrong to what?
Not wrong to speak out and not wrong to speak the truth. But for me to allow myself to stay forever and ever is wrong.
I don't understand. What did you say?
I know you didn't.
No, what did you try to say? I'll give you another
She
chance.
had two things going.
I don't understand.
I do.
Oh,
Okay, try
that's
again.
what you have to hang on to, the things that you
Put it
find
closer to,
yourself.
put it closer to her. Say it again.
I just said you are overcoming me with your greatness. And I have not let go of you,
I'm overcoming you with my greatness.
of your stature.
Are
And
you,
they
are you getting benefit from it?
Not at the time, although there are some things that come through.
That has?
Yes.
Could you
Like
tell
this
me-
is one of them.
Which is one?
Being nervous in front of you is a weakness. It's not a strength. But you can see truth through it if you're looking for it. And that's what I'm seeing. And that's what's overcoming me. It's bigger than you and I.
Yeah, have you seen your anger yet?
I don't call it anger in the sense that you use it here. But it's being misled and guided by evil people, or filled with
Well,
evil.
the world is filled with broken people
I don't
and
speak
evil
with,
people. And you don't know which one is broken, and it's very hard to tell which one never will get better. There are evil people who look like really evil ones, and your president is really an evil one. A program one, but he's not going to change. He's got too much power behind him. So why would he change? It's all working for him. I mean, everybody's convertible, but you're not going to be able to convert this one before he takes you out. I'll make you a prediction. There will not be an election in 2016. There'll be
16.
16. 2016. Yeah, did I say that? Yeah. Okay. So there will be martial law. You're going to have a potentate forever. You're going to have a ruler forever if that happens. It's all developing. Texas is going to be attacked first, infiltrated. You didn't hear this. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. This is a little bit political, but you need to understand it. My daughter lives in Texas, and she sees certain vehicles on the railroad tracks, and there's certain cars or vehicles that are very strange looking, but meant for the American roads. And they're going to send the military in to examine to see how vulnerable Texas is so that they can be ready for any invasion. All of a sudden we got that. And 17 cities has been selected. And the real men are going to move in. Then they're going to move out. And then the new ones, when it happens, they'll be coming in. By the way, they have the presidential, on those trucks, they have the presidential seals. You didn't know that. So on the top of that, just a trend of thought, if you just let me collect my thoughts a minute. So when all that exercise, training exercise with real SEALs, they pull them out. The time will come when you put them in, but you're going to put in people who've crossed the border. Not mentioning any race, color, or creed. See, he's got to put those people in, and they will be watching you. And if I don't want to say anymore because it's obvious. He's going to move those with all the same uniforms. So this has all been planned 70, 80 years. I came upon it when I first started on radio. I was attacked for no reason. I said, attacked in America? As long as I was doing my diamond cutting, I was famous. I made a good living. The minute I came to do my radio program I left my jewelry business behind. In 7 years in the Institute of Hypnosis, I discovered all the things I'm talking about now, how to undo. They are in the business of doing it, in demoralizing this country. And you can see we're being demoralized. We've got 50,000 murders every year as compared with 2 or 3 when I came here. Something's going wrong. Families are being broken up. The doors are open. You know, you can have a what they have a name for it, for no fault divorce. And there's the opening door. You allow the women's will to act, but men don't have any counter reaction. They have no rights. Women have the rights, and off they go. Have an argument, divorce, easy. There needs to be proper protocols, but there isn't. They're all falling apart. He's breaking all the constitutions, all the constitutional law. He doesn't abide by it. So, and you do nothing. Nobody does anything. Yes, you've got lawsuits. Well, that takes years and years and years. Why he keeps doing damage? So don't you see? You're finished. You are a finished nation. There's so many ways I can say it, but this is not the venue for that. My venue is to use this audience and video to express my points of view in every way. Sort of pseudo-political. Jesus was pseudo-political. He can't help. He came into the world. They want to kill him right away. See, they want to kill it while it's still small. And the trouble is, they killed it when it was, still small, but it became one of the biggest religions in the world, especially Catholicism, which I like best than most of the religions, believe it or not. But I'm not a joiner. You have something to say?
I think you're seeing a rebellion in the education system also.
All the education system
How close can I get?
is all compromised, yes. And so it's everything you can see. Music, entertainment, education. He wants you to go to have education, and you find out that education corrupts. If I express this, if I want to be a doctor when I was a young man, or a physicist, that was my wish. That would be nice. My father died, so that didn't happen. I didn't have enough money. I had to support my family, my mother and my brother, etc., etc. I gave my brother the education I never got it myself, so there was no hope for me. But it was a hope for me. I did the right things, but I have always an inclination towards somehow, by doing the right thing, to end up this way. I've just written a thesis I just finished the thesis. Now, trust me when I say this. I've got something that can help you overcome just about every psychological and physical problem. Just like that, correct? All know this. Most people who've listened to me, the veterans, those who get my material get better. And it's all blocked away. And so what I have within me is no education, none at all, only that I'm a good diamond cutter, that's all. But I left that because I was interested in hypnosis, and hypnosis led me to understand what's wrong with people. I was left alone with people for 7 years, and slowly but surely, intuitively, I began to see it. And one morning, one lady said, "What you said to me yesterday," I went home, and my husband said, "What happened to you?" And it was for weeks and months like that, and she got better and better and better, and they could not understand how much better she got. And then one day she came.
Excuse me, Roy, somebody's got their phone on, you can hear the music. I don't know about anybody else.
Oh, it's all right. We don't hear it.
Well, I just wanted to finish this thought about their rebellion, that the spring break in Florida, it's gotten so much worse because they're rebelling and they're in a corrupt way. the students that are off college, and it's just getting so out of hand. But it's a manifestation of the rebellion against the intellectual knowledge.
Well, it's they're looking for pleasure to kill all the pains of the forced education.
I agree.
I told you education is a very dangerous thing, and you're bringing me back to the point where the president made sure that students got loans to get education, and when they got the education, they don't know what to do with it. They've got all knowledge and no common sense. And the common sense is driven out of the window when you start to feel compelled to remember this and remember that. We call that education. But it drives out common sense. It drives out virtue and puts the wrong people in power. So the more clever you are, the more educated you are, the more it's yes, sir, yes, 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 for whoever it is, whoever the authority is. Yes, Mr. President, yes, sir, in school. I was, ever since I was a little kid, I could see dead people walking around. I could see my teachers were dead. I couldn't learn from them. I wouldn't learn from them. I know a little bit of arithmetic. I know how to write. And I'm not very good at writing, but I used to have a very good editor. And I said, I'm not a good writer. She says, what do you mean? You're saying something. I'm the editor. You do the writing. I got it. So everybody has a role. This one understood, this editor understood everything I was saying. And she helped me write my books, nearly all of them, for no charge at all, until she died. It's a very nice lady. So most of my books are edited. I don't write that well, but my ideas are there, and she got it perfect. See, and I'd run it for me. I said, yeah, that's better than I said it. See? She says, no, you're the writer, I'm the editor. I can't think of these things, but I see that they're right, so I can put the words in the right place. So I may not have the words in the right place here, but you're understanding me. Don't let anybody force you to think that if you had an education. And if you are going to learn something, enjoy learning it. Don't allow yourself to be pressured by anybody or anything. If you don't understand it, leave it till you do. Don't try to make yourself a better person. Just because only you do, you're going to be a bigger phony, and it's going to be a bigger problem. Because everybody can see it, and you can't. See? See? So don't just realize of yourself you can do nothing. It boils down to, of myself I can do nothing, the Father within me doth it all. Now that is what I learned. I learned what that was, and my language is to get you to see that all the faults you have, all the illnesses and all the diseases, 95% of them, diseases, mental, emotional, and physical, comes from disobedience, from overreacting, from being trained and educated or miseducated, rather than allowing the child to unfold with the love of everything he loves to do, and just leave him alone. Just watch him, and watch how much excitement he has seeing ducks and fish and airplanes and puzzles, and just let him do it alone, and you have a genius. Every child is a genius, and every child is destroyed practically the day he is born, because everybody thinks, in other words, the culture, even the best cultures, force feed them education. Force feed them the culture. Force feed them the religion. Force feed them, see, and then you get rebels and conformists. You get bad guys and pseudo-good guys. See, you cannot change the world until you can bring a Jesus in, who simply talks in simple terms and helps you to understand if you just be still and know. But you have to have Jesus kinds of people which you're all capable of being. You're going to be a Jesus kind of person. You're going to be a Jesus kind of person, and not afraid to speak up and let the Spirit speak through you. And even if you speak imperfectly, it's okay. It's okay. It will come across. I'm not speaking perfectly. I'm not having any order of the speech. I'm running all over the place. But somewhere in that order or disorder, there's bits and pieces. It doesn't have to be a story. It doesn't have to be, some kind of parable. The parables are there in the Bible. There's the parable of the prodigal son, which is my favorite. I have tears when I think of it. The father meets you halfway. You're all entitled to making mistakes, lots of them. All entitled to be selfish and seeing it doesn't work. And so, you see, because you came into the world innocent, and you were crushed by your culture, you were educated by your culture, you were educated, in the culture itself, and then exceeding your cultural indoctrination by degrees and positions of power and subject matter which you are expert in and worship for, and becoming teachers and getting degrees. I don't want all that. Now, there's a place for it. You don't want a doctor that doesn't have a degree. I get that. But there's got to be a love of it. Now, if I can just say one more thing about this. In China, and I'll bring it back to America, what's happening in America, which you don't know. In China, it's becoming a very big country, and with entrepreneurism, like you wouldn't believe. It's called capitalism. It isn't as perfect as ours, but ours is becoming imperfect. It's become very imperfect. But never mind, they're giving all their kids the best education. But, there's a big but. At the very end of their education, to make sure they have no common sense and no rebellion, because common sense will rebel against injustice. They put them through maybe 6 months, year of pressure, of things they got to learn that really is useless, but they have to remember it. If they don't pass that, day and night, 18 hours a day, pressure of all kinds of things. First of all, it's easy. They all love it. You go engineers, they become doctors or whatever it is. But at the last few months, 6 months or so, they put them through tremendous pressure over just all kinds of information they don't even need, or if they do need it, they put pressure. And they break their spirit. So they've accepted things they shouldn't have. And some will fall out because they don't want to do that, so they never will ever achieve anything. See, they don't get a job. They don't care. They do the best they can. But the ones who are vulnerable, then they will pass that exam. But then you have loyalty to the system that created them. Now, let me say it. In America, the same thing happened. They're doing the same thing with doctors. In the very last few months of their education, put them under a lot of pressure. No more common sense. You can't find a good doctor anymore. All the good ones are disappearing. You've got compromised doctors who will kill the old elderly without any conscience. I was almost murdered in hospital. If it wasn't for my son, I wouldn't be here talking to you. And the only thing that was wrong with me is I had too much acid in my stomach, which I didn't know, because I'm not an angry person, but it's just the chemistry of having antibiotics all these years, etc., 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 etc. I didn't know it was so. And so the gas was expanding and pressuring my heart. to a tremendous high blood pressure degree, almost to kill me. But the only thing, but in the end, after going through all of the putting me to sleep and waking me up and doing all kinds of weird stuff, in the end, all it was is taking a little pill to slow the acid down. That's it all. And I've been fine ever since. So I could have, to tell you the truth, if I knew Gas-X, if I knew that I had an acid stomach, which I didn't, because of old age and antibiotics, all these operations I've had over the years, which I didn't really need. I didn't really need them, don't you see? It's already happening to me. So all I need to cure my problem was a Gas-X. I wouldn't have the heart problem. If I didn't have a good heart, I would have died. If I didn't have a strong son, very strong, a very powerful son, that overrides the doctor, that confounded the confounded doctor, I would not be here. But all there is, I found out, if I eat an apple, all of a sudden my heart starts to beat, blood pressure rises huge. Take a Gas-X, I don't even know the gas is there. Take a Gas-X, it's gone. So now I just eat a slow release tablet. That's all. That's all it ever was. So it put me to sleep 3 times, 4 times. That did a lot of harm to me. But they could have, if you have a good doctor, would understand that right away. A good doctor would understand something like that right away, putting me through all that and then giving me jello, couldn't eat, remember? Couldn't eat. Please don't, would you jello but no sugar? They gave me jello with sugar. I said a lot of it because I haven't eaten in 14 days. And so therefore I went to do a diabetic shock. Now I'm sick in the hospital. Now they're going to bring, instead of the doctor looking at me and seeing what's wrong with me, she brings the priest. Last rites. And that's where my son jumped in. And they still couldn't get a doctor. This is the story. And so I was muttering as I was dying. I was muttering the jello. A nurse heard it. This is how it was. A nurse heard it. And she said, is he diabetic? He said, yes. I said, I don't have diabetes because I eat properly. I don't have it anymore, but I don't dare eat sweets, sugar. I'm careful of that. And she says, how long does it take to get a doctor? There's no other doctor there. And she said, about 2 or 3 hours. I said, my father will be dead in 3 hours. Can you get some right away? She said, yes. And she went to the cupboard and got it. Cling, better. The doctors come, my blood pressure is going down, they didn't see anything wrong with me. That's it. And they gave another shot of insulin. That was it. But you see, the doctor in duty didn't ask what was wrong, didn't examine me, just brought he brought the priest to give me my last rites. My son and that I call that little fairy lady who risked her job. I said, can my son close the window?
Help me get off the floor, please. My husband has stepped out and I don't know. I wish to join him. Could somebody help me?
Where's he gone?
He went to the car to get a pill for her.
Okay.
He'll be right back.
He went to the car. You're making a judgment. He went to the car. Listen, here is a wonderful opportunity for you. Here's a wonderful opportunity. He went to the car to get a pill for you and you're judging him.
He just gave me one because
I know, he left you. It's okay. But he didn't desert you.
he didn't.
You took it wrong. You took it
Didn't
wrong.
he ever deserve
You
it?
took it wrong. You'll be all right. He'll be right back, isn't that right? You see how quickly you are? See how quick you are to judge him? See how quick? Okay. Young lady, the only thing I can help you with is Do you meditate?
Yes,
You do?
I meditate with the new one,
Huh?
with the new meditation.
You have?
Yes.
And has it taught you anything?
Well, the new one I don't like.
Hmm?
Have you learned anything?
I've learned not to like it. It's
Well,
very heavy.
that figures.
Now you've got your soldiers.
See, I'm a strong character, so it brings you to that. But then you don't like what you say.
It's heavy. It's heavy.
But anyway, I think, what time is it?
It's been an hour and a half, a little more than that.
All right. Any more questions?
Hang on.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Oh, pass the mic, please.
Yeah.
Maybe you could help me. A thread came across earlier and was starting to come to me. I had a problem with you,
Yes.
and I saw a connection.
What?
It was the pain. You talked about the pain. Give me a chance to let it come out, because
He's back.
Sometimes it's,
He thought you deserted her.
it was only a,
Okay, go ahead.
well, I've been having a problem, and it's like everything's starting to line up now. It was the pain that I feel with the truth. I resented that.
You resented the truth and you bury it.
But wait, let me explain to you, because it goes different than that.
Okay.
It was connected to my father. Because he was cruel and he caused me pain, it made me think of pain as a bad thing. And then when the good pain came, it went in the wrong category.
Oh.
And then when you would yell at me in a good way, I didn't understand. You know, it felt mean to me.
Yes.
And I couldn't decipher that it was a
Yes.
good kind of a,
That's-
it was the strong kind of trying to shake me out of my sleep and say, wait a second, there's something wrong here
Right
I'm
on the
trying to
money.
make you aware of. And so I was mad at you because I was afraid to come here, because sometimes you just holler at me. And I was so reacting to the hollering that I couldn't hear what you said. But then sometimes you would talk to me tenderly, and you would say, listen, I want to tell you something. And I could hear you, and I could understand you, and I could follow you, and I could catch what you were saying, and it helped my heart.
Are you telling me I'm an angry guy?
So anyway, what I was wondering, and what I wanted you to help me with, is the connection with my father, with the pain. It's keeping me from loving the good kind of pain.
You know something? That's a very good observation. But fathers should also speak with a loud voice too, if you don't listen. But there's got to be no anger in it. My loud voice has got no anger in it.
But see,
But you identified it with your father.
but the saying was,
Yeah.
my father was cruel
Yeah.
and unreasonable, and he didn't make sense. And it was so confusing that I actually cut him out of it's like we lived in the same house, but I couldn't even speak to him. He hated me. He hated me so much that he couldn't be reasonable.
You know why he hated you?
I do now,
Well,
because I
why?
had the truth, because I was innocent.
Because you were innocent.
Yeah.
Now, that's what I keep saying about ISIS. When I say on the radio, ISIS is afraid of little children because they're so
Yeah.
beautiful.
That was
And
interesting.
they hate beauty. They hate...
Now, I
they
had the
hate
same
innocence.
problem. I hated innocence too.
And that's what happens in every household, where the ones that conform or rebel, you go chase them and try to help them while they're in jail, or you chase them away, or you seduce them into being better people. So it's what you said. You can't say it any better. But there is a way of speaking firmly And being firm is good for children, not like yourself. In other words, in my household, when I say to go to bed, and they say, well, Dad, let me have another 5 minutes, and 5 minutes pass and they're still tinkering with whatever they're doing. I said, you said 5 minutes, did I? Yes. Well, go to bed. And I said, another 5 minutes, Dad. So 5 minutes, they're still doing it. I said, now it's time to go to bed. That's a loud voice. And they know I mean it, and I chase them upstairs and they all laugh. You know. But that is not, but you've identified my strong, loud voice with your father's confounding, mean, strong voice. See, but not everybody. When you hear me speaking with strength, even today, I'm speaking with a loud voice. I'm speaking in no uncertain terms, correct? That is the loud voice. That is what I'm speaking in. Yes, sir.
You know, I identify a little bit with what Beverly's saying, because I remember when I was a little child, as I've talked about before, my mom beat me, right? And the worst time she beat me, the worst time that happened, she beat me and my little brother. And when my dad came home from work that day, she met him at the door and said, the children have been bad today.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we hadn't been bad. She'd been bad. But my dad, the way I see it, my dad needed her affection, so he wasn't going to investigate what happened or anything. But he stood there in the living room, and I can remember just as clear as a bell, he'd point with his finger and yell with a loud voice, go to your room. And I've been on the receiving end over the years of some of your loudness. But I think what helped me is because I always saw that you had a good intent. I always saw that you had a good intent, so it didn't have quite the same effect upon me.
Correct.
It
has the neutralizing. It has the neutralizing effect.
But I could see how that could really be confusing to a person.
Absolutely.
That could, a loud voice, the loud voice of the father yelling at you. That's injustice.
My loud voice, it should be making you better.
To the never, never land of what you want it to be for you. It's not the real thing.
What's he saying?
She wanders off of reality on me. She wanders away from reality a lot. And if you notice the contortion right now, you're getting to the thing that's inside right now. Just your presence.
Just your presence scares me.
And
well, I could try something. I could try something.
I'm having a time hanging on to this.
Okay. Close your eyes. Okay. Keep your eyes closed. And now you see that I have my thumb in the middle of your forehead? Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do.
Now follow my finger upwards without, look up, start to follow it, looking up without, and keep your eyes closed. Look upwards with your eyes closed. Okay? Now you can't open your eyes. If you did it right, you won't be able to open your eyes. See, try to open your eyes. Can you? Try to open your eyes.
Well,
Can't open them, can you?
They're open.
No, can't. Are they open? Okay. All right. Whoops-a-daisy. Well, no. You're too rebellious to me. I
You're
can't.
strong enough for me.
Yeah, you are. You can't hear what I'm saying.
I can hear every word.
I know you can hear, but you don't understand it.
Oh, I do.
You know the
too.
difference between hearing and understanding?
I understand them.
No, you know. My wife says it often. She understands,
Then
but
she's
she doesn't.
smarter than you think she is.
She placates me by saying I understand, because you do hear what I'm saying, but understanding is a different thing from realizing. Understanding is, I understand reading, writing, and arithmetic.
No, it's beyond that.
Okay, but to understand is a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual set of eyes that really, really see, and not just hear what's being said, which doesn't apply to me. I understand, but it doesn't apply to me. See,
To me it does.
and it does apply.
Not
And when you
that,
really
what
understand
say.
it is true
What you
and it does
say.
apply, you got
Not the
repentance.
made-up stuff, the real stuff. I can hear it.
Well, give it to her again. Try again.
Now open your eyes. See, how can I hear you saying something?
What did he say?
There's an entity in me.
That's right. That is correct. There's an entity in you that needs to come out.
That's right.
There's an entity within you that needs to come out. There's an entity inside you that needs to come out.
That's true.
Yeah. But you're okay with it?
No,
Are
I'm
you
not.
okay with it?
I'm not okay with
See,
it.
now she's actually seen that. Now we're getting closer to it. Can you stay around till next week? I can't do that privately. It has to be openly like this.
Oh, yes.
But she needs some time to think about what, if she can remember it, if she soaked any of it up. She's already got, this is a confession. I have an entity in me.
That's right.
And it's the entity that's blocking her from who she is. Now, stage 2 is for that to come out. And this is not going to be easy.
It's getting stronger every day.
Yeah.
I have a condition that is, I say healing, but really it's on its way to healing. And it has prevented me from being healed, and it has something to do with my husband.
So how long she had this condition?
About 15 years.
15 years. Yeah.
And I see things.
But has she ever told you that was an entity there?
Yes.
No, I can see it for myself.
Yeah. Everybody has every human being has another self in them. And that's the extension of their parent. And that parent has an entity in them, which is the extension of their parent. All the way back to Paradise Lost. This is now a religious program again. And so therefore, through one man, sin, and death through sin spread through the human race. So the question is, are you guilty? The answer is only the first man was guilty. And he spread, let's make an example. If Adam had obeyed the law of the heart, the wordless word in the heart, we would have a different kind of constitution, a different kind of world where everything was beautiful. But that could never be, because when you create a man in your image and you're trying to create something that even to God is impossible, you try to create love, you cannot force it. So you have to create a man that's going to be vulnerable to temptation. So the fallen angels are the temptations. They have a value. The war in heaven calls whatever it was that you can't see, touch, or smell, but is in this room, in her, and in all of you to some degree, to varying degrees. So when you come into this world, you're inheriting a system, and it could be Muslim, it could be Jewish, it could be a cannibal, it could be any form. Every race and color and creed has the same entity and the same evil people rising to control them. There's only 1% of the human race in the last 10,000 years that ever lived in freedom. That gives you some idea, and we're losing ours. So you see, what you're looking at is the fact that you're born innocent, and you didn't choose, like Adam, to choose to do wrong. See? And to fall away. You're born a fallen away. You're born pure, but corrupted the minute you're born. The minute you suckle from your mother's breast, you're broken. Because it's the kind of love she gives. She doesn't know what love is yet. She holds that. You always find women either rejecting their children because they need love, or needing love themselves. They're too kind to the children and they become codependent. So they either get rejection or too much attention and love, too much of it, and it doesn't notice. It all seems so beautiful. and then it becomes ugly. So you see, you're born into that, and understanding of that, the whole human race is broken in exactly the same way, except to various dangerous degrees. So, various dangerous degrees. Like cannibals, like Hitler, fascism, see. So the truth of the matter is, in our fallen state, in our broken fallen state, the tendency is to be inclined to look for the worst in people to love you. Because the nature that gets inside you displaces the spirit that you were born with. It displaces it almost the minute you're born. Even though you may still have awareness of everything that's wrong, you don't have the power to overcome it because you're little and you're dependent on food, on shelter. You cannot possibly fight it, but you can preserve it as a person. That you could keep that in your heart most of your life, and that's what I'm appealing to. And I'm appealing to you and saying you have never been guilty. You're not happy with what you've got. And you didn't give it to yourself. You didn't actually reach out yourself. It was the spirit inside you that made you do this and make you feel guilty for it. Am I correct?
Yes.
So it's easy for me to help you to say that Jesus says, he comes and says, you're not guilty. You've been saved before you were born. You were forgiven before you were born. For thousands of years, every person that's born has been forgiven before it, but the wickedness is always standing in the way, and the doors seems to be all closed. The religious doors, the academic it's all closed. But intellectuals, clever, scheming, willful, even not willful, but also caught up and playing the role of the willful, not fully, and then maybe they wake up and see the mistakes they make up when they get older, and not be happy with being, manipulators and violators, educational violators. You see what I mean? And seeing the wrong things they've done and thinking that glory and being somebody is really something that everybody has to achieve, which isn't true. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all other things will be added to you, including education. Including education, especially the kind of education that is able to pick out the good things that people have done and really understand it. The way I did, the way I learned to physics, just looking for little pieces that don't make sense. See? The Big Bang. That makes sense. There's no order.
Roy, why can't I see that, or why can't I feel that? Because I feel sometimes the evil spirit has got hold of me.
I know. But there's got to be a point where it leaves, and the question is, I know it's still there with you, but it's not there with him. You put it in her, and she's better.
She is.
Why aren't you?
I don't know.
She had an exorcism, she's better, and she's
Right.
getting better. Why are you not? But you're still coming.
Yes.
Why?
Because I believe there's something in you that's helping me, but it just doesn't reach me, and I don't know what it is.
No, it's because I've told you what it is. You have me on a pedestal. You are looking for the man and not the God that made the man. Not the words. You are conditioned to listening to the words of the man as if the man is saving you. And I'm saying to you that what you're hearing is not the man, it's what made the man say these things to you. And then you must see it that way. And then if you see it,
It will come.
yeah, it
Yes,
takes
because I know it isn't you. I know it's
but you're
what's in
intellectual.
you.
No, you can know it intellectually. and not really see it. Oh my God. Seeing it is like this. Oh my God. I knew it, but I didn't know it. Jesus says, they see but do not perceive.
Yes.
You are seeing and not perceiving. You
That's
are
true.
here and they don't understand. You hear and not understand. See what? So there's another way of looking at things, as the fly said as he walked on the mirror. See that?
Yes.
There's a double meaning to everything.
Roy, you can intellectually agree with the truth, but that doesn't.
We're going to be a last question.
Intellectually agreeing with the truth doesn't mean that you understand the truth,
That's
that you
correct.
receive the truth. It's like taking the Bible and rubbing it on you as if you could get some kind of goodness from knowing those words that are on the page.
Yeah. You're getting better, aren't you?
A little bit.
It's all right. It's all right. It took us 63 years to begin to listen. It only took me 63 minutes.
Gee, there's hope for me.
Oh, I should say 83. What am I talking about? I'm losing my memory.
You better stop and do that hand meditation like your great-grandson said.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, I know you have important things to say, but we can't do it too much politics here.
It wasn't political.
Oh, but if you'd like to say something, I think said these papers.
It was along the lines of what your subject was.
Okay, would you like to speak then? Just finish off quickly?
Very quickly.
Yeah. Could you give her?
Would someone help me out
Yeah.
the door?
Yeah. Do you have to read it?
No, I just have to say this because I can't remember what the page says. I'm not going to. It's this. Along the lines of what you were saying about the police state in the United States due to Barack Obama.
Oh, yeah.
Online, it's President's Task Force.
Yeah, that's right. 17 stations, 17 cities in Texas.
Well, this is nationwide, Mr.
Yeah, no, it
Masters.
starts in Texas. Because
Okay.
Texas is the only one that's going to speak at stand-up.
But what I wanted to just make the people and myself aware, I got this off online, 109 pages, and I printed them because
I know.
it's the whole policy.
I know, but it starts with Texas because Texas is the one that is more likely to fight. And therefore, they want to stop it there.
That's right.
I got it. All right, thank you very much, my dear friends.
Thank you.
And I know I've been running all over the place. And young lady and sir, you need to be more firm with her and let her kvetch. You know what I mean? Kvetch is the Jewish word to get angry. And don't get angry back. Don't keep saying there is something in her and she is possessed. She said it herself. And that owns her. And there's we hope there's a net spirit in her, but now this is if you can bring her back or talk to her like I talk to her, not talking something, a spirit talking to her, not worrying about whether she's going to get better or worse. When I talk to my wife, I don't care. Now this sounds mean, but I cannot allow myself to care whether the truth hurts her and kills her to make it strong. I don't care if it kills her, but it's one of the two things. It kills her or cures her. I cannot have anything in between because nothing in between will work. And I can't be responsible. I'm responsible for saying it and saying it with strength and letting the outcome be what it will be. And even if it kills me, if the outcome is to be I should die, it's going to be that way too.
And I'm still here.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you. Have a nice Easter.